I'll show you how to hem pants on your sewing machine. If your pants are too long, you don't have to fold them up. You can hem them under instead. You will need a second person to help you with the pinning. If you are the one wearing the pants, you'll need someone else to lift the bottom hem up underneath and pin the correct length. These pants were so much longer than needed. We're going to have to trim a good amount of the extra that's been folded inside. Once the pants have been pinned, turn them inside out very carefully. Now we're going to leave about 2 inches of fabric so that we have plenty of room to stitch. Slide your hand underneath the length that you're cutting off and very carefully make a snip so you can continue now to cut off the extra, being careful not to cut the second layer, the pants you do want to keep underneath. Remove the trimmed extra fabric. These pants had been hemmed with a double stitch, and we're going to do the same, except we don't have a serger to make this kind of pattern in the back, but we do have the ability to make 2 straight line stitches around the new hem, and that'll be very simple. We'll slide the fabric in somewhere near the seam of the pants, and ideally you would use matching thread, but our machine is loaded with white, so that's what we're using. I'll be using 6/8 as my line for the first straight stitch. Lower the foot into place, plunge the needle down manually once to be sure there's no catching. Notice I've removed part of the machine to make it easier to go around a small hem like this. Some machines, a lot of them do have this ability, so double check, it's helpful. And we'll start working our way around. All right, now we're pausing here where the seam is, and we're being extra careful to go slowly so we don't stretch and move very much. This is a knit fabric, and we're being very cautious to not stretch it as we're sewing. So we're going to kind of go baby steps over this stitch, over this seam. Okay, I'm going to lift up the presser foot, help this fabric under. Lift up the presser foot again, just to make sure we're not bunching up anywhere. We're still on our 6/8 line, so we can continue on. Removing the pin. Okay, now here we are coming to the beginning again, and we're going to knot this by going directly on top of it, reversing back and forth a couple times, and that'll be sufficient. Now we're ready to lift the needle out, lift the presser foot, and clip the threads. Snip these very closely. We've got our first straight stitch across the entire pant leg. The knotted area is not very noticeable because it's going to be on an inseam. And now we're going to make the second row of stitches a little tighter. Okay, so we have our first line as a basting stitch on the longest length setting. But now that everything is in place, we're going to shorten the length of our stitches, so it'll lock it in better the second time around. The second row of stitches are going to be set at 5/8. We'll plunge the needle down. The pants have been hemmed with a double stitch, but on the inside we just have this rough trimmed edge, and we're going to fix that next. To finish it off, we'll trim with pinking shears. And now with the pinking on the edge, we won't have much trouble with unraveling. So that's how you can hem pants right on your sewing machine.